Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Dominion Gaming TV. My name is WoLF, and today I'm bringing to you another WoLF Howls. This is going to be an interview series where I interview anyone and everyone, from StarCraft players to community members to game developers, all those kinds of people. But today on the show we have ourselves Minix, who is also a player off of DeusTeSports and is actually quite a good commentator as well. How are you, sir? And welcome to the show.
Pretty good. Just enjoy another midweek.
As you do, as you do. Gotta love Hump Day.
Is that what you call it these days?
Well,
okay. Well.
You're getting over the hump of the 5-day week, whatever. So, tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from, and what's your heritage? Because obviously you are Asian. And what do you do for a living, man?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was born in China, but raised on the internet, so I think that evens things out. Let's see. What do I do for a living? I'm a civil engineer these days. So yeah. Aside from that, just living by myself, chilling. A gamer at heart, though. That's my true career. Just trying to find a way to make money off it, though.
That's the real test, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to monetize everything.
So, could you tell us a bit how you got into gaming growing up, and in particular how you found StarCraft or got into StarCraft?
Yeah, sure. Well, the thing is, when I first moved over to Australia, there was a lot of language barrier problems. I obviously wasn't like the sport fanatic at the time, wasn't very fit. So while the other kids were discovering what made them special, I discovered I was better at gaming, specifically RTS games, because I was one of those guys who enjoyed sitting across the table from another person and just going to war. And Brew just captured me straight away because of how, at the time, it was just both graphically and mechanically brilliant. You never seen units move that fast or armies go expand that quickly. And yeah, that's how I got into Brood War at the time. But aside from that, I play a bunch of other games. Occasionally going to a little bit further of genres such as JRPGs, but mainly sticking to your role-playing games and sandboxes and of that genre.
So do you have a DS? A 3DS? No?
Unfortunately, I do not. But if I did,
damn.
I would be playing Fire Emblem, I would say. But not much of a Nintendo guy.
Bravely Default. You have to play it, bro. It is amazing. It is, like, so good. Anyway. So, how did you end up in DeusTeSports?
Well, a few friends of mine from uni introduced me to cast one of the tournaments. His name was Mikey. He was a good mate of mine. He was a really cool, charismatic guy. As I casted tournaments, he introduced me to a bunch of other guys who hung around him for a bit. That was Jamie, the manager of HVG at the time.
Yep.
And after circumstances, HVG decided to band together and form with, I believe Simon was the owner's name of Dynasty Gaming. Yep. And I was one of the guys who was selected to join the StarCraft division at that point.
Fair enough. Yeah. How have you been enjoying your time with them so far? There's been a few bumps and bruises with DeusTeSports over the time, so how have you personally been enjoying your experience with them?
Well, I would say that Jamie, the manager of ICE, he's a very ambitious man, which is a good thing. Definitely someone who's always on the lookout for future talent, potential talent, and future events. I would say for the time being, I feel the Dynasty team is a little bit more on the inactive side. Definitely could use a few more clan wars or show matches, or just events in general, so that I could A, play them, or B, cast them. Yep. So yeah.
Fair enough. And so last night, from time of recording, I was talking to Full Metal in the same series, WoLF Howls, about the whole Frustration Ice incident. So I'm not sure if you've seen that interview yet. It went up this morning, so you probably haven't had much time to look at it. But is there any comments you'd like to make on that whole situation?
Yeah, I think both Jamie and Frustration, or Ice and Frustration, has a lot to learn from this incident. I feel that while the vast majority of Dynasty players are, I would say, still casual players, because they don't necessarily invest that much of their time into it, either because they're still in school or because they're just not at the level yet where it matters to a tournament perspective. But I feel like someone on the level of Frustration or Jamie, who's definitely wanted to push the team into something more significant, I feel like this is the time for them to take these things a little bit more seriously, especially Frustration, who's been I would say pushing to WCS level almost, qualifier levels.
Yep.
So for him to broadcast himself as a guy who plays on like a lower league account to bully people with 3 leagues below him, definitely gives him like a very negative persona to it. You don't want to enter the scene with that kind of an attitude, because that's basically what Winter did. And I mean, if that's what you're trying to aim for, then the more power to you. But I'm just gonna say straight away, for everybody who did like Viewer, there were everybody who did like Winter, there were probably like 3 or 4 people who hated him of that equal ratio.
Yep.
So I don't think that's the kind of image you want to give yourself as frustration. And as for Jamie, I'm a little bit surprised that he decided to like give into that. I feel like he should have made a stand a bit earlier, but maybe because of peer pressure from what I heard of Full Metal and Jevon, Full Metal about him and Jevon egging him on. I feel like he should have took his stand right there and just said that no, I want us to be taken seriously. I don't want this to be I don't want this to sort of give us like raise suspicions of us match fixing or game rigging. In fact, I believe I was actually not allowed to cast the Dynasty Clan War, the team match between them and Frey, because of those suspicions. So again, those are opportunities lost because people like were suspicious of us, of certain players cheating on the actual Clan War.
Wow.
So I'm surprised that I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to the past in the past. I don't think there's any pointing like witch hunting at this point, but I do feel like this is definitely something both parties can learn from.
And yeah, the past is in the past, and move forward from there. So like, how you personally? So you've been affected just by that casting, or are there any other ways that you've been affected by this whole situation, and you being associated with Dynasty?
Well, yeah, the most direct one obviously is the fact that I wasn't allowed to cast the Clan War, which I was previously scheduled to do so. I mean, obviously it's not like a money thing. It was just something that I enjoy doing, and being denied that is a bit annoying. Yeah, a bit of a kick in the ass. So but more personally, it's more of a trust thing, I guess. It's like, do you really trust your players now at this point? It's kind of difficult to say. But I mean, over time, you should give in eventually.
Fair enough. So, what drove you to become a commentator? Like, you're not that bad. Like, last week in the Clan War versus MGG, you and Full Metal actually were really good for the most part, and I quite enjoyed listening to you guys cast. You're like a bit of a catalyst between each other, and you melded a lot better than what you and I did, that's for sure. So, what drove you to become a commentator?
Well, I guess once I entered uni from after high school, I began to develop more charisma over time, and because my love for games in general still stuck with me throughout school, I felt like the best way to sort of exercise my love for games is through commentating, because obviously I'm not at the level where I can play and draw in thousands of viewers, but at the very least I can entertain my friends who may not be as hardcore of a game as myself, but I can at very least entertain them by showing them my comments on a game, or my voice in general. So that's a bit more that's a bit easier to relate to than having them watch me stream games which they may have no interest in.
Fair enough then. So who would you say where your inspiration comes from when it comes to commentating? For me, it's like TB, Tasteless, and like a bit of Husky, who originally was the very first guy who got me into StarCraft and commentating and all that. So who was it for you?
I would say Turtle Biscuit was definitely one of the big ones. He is actually one of my role models. The guy is to talk about Turtle Biscuit, he is one of the guys who actually is like the savior for esports for a certain period of time, even now to a certain degree. I don't know if you heard about what happened to the Slayers players after the whole coaching incident with Jessica, the money scandals.
Yeah, I was reading that off my phone during a drama class, I think. There was a big post about it, and I was reading it from on the Slayers website or Team Liquid or something. It was really intense, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but basically all the players, the vast majority of players were just passed around. Those who couldn't find like a foreign team immediately were just thrown around like randomly and not getting paid for weeks and weeks. But then thanks to Turtle Biscuit and Jenna Bain, who out of their own pockets and kindness basically created their own Axiom team to support these Korean pro gamers who basically had no choice otherwise. They weren't going to be marketable anytime. They had no money to travel overseas by themselves. And they basically sacrificed a large portion of their education to try and play in a game, in a sport that would probably dictate where the rest of their lives will go. So it's really good for for someone like Jenna Bain and John Bain, Toto Biscuit, to give these people like a second chance in something they love doing. So definitely Toto Biscuit, I would say, is one of my main role models. Even as like a gamer beyond just a caster, he's just one of those successful people who you look at and be like, I want to grow up to be like him. Because I think in my period of time when I was growing up, most gamers were treated as like antisocial, people who aren't particularly articulate, the uneducated guys who basically stay at home and don't work and play games all day.
Yeah, and he was that kind of guy who was very articulate with his words, and he was like really good at cohesively forming why he didn't like or did like a game, and like especially with his reviews of games, he's very intelligent, very smart, and he's much more articulate than with my words right now. But no, he's definitely someone to look up to.
You're absolutely right. Like, he's very charismatic. He has a huge fan base. A lot of people respect him in general. So yeah, it's basically absolutely everything you want out of a person as a role model. So you do. So there's absolutely, and this is exactly what you want in the gaming community. You want someone who is actually successful in what he does in gaming, to sort of show the rest of the world that yes, gaming is just at the end of the day, it's just another hobby. You can do it just as any other thing, like reading a book or watching a movie. It doesn't harm you anyway.
Yeah.
And you can still be successful and still love what you want to do. So yeah, he's an inspiration to all gamers in general. But in terms of like inspirations for casting, I would say Artosis and to a certain degree, and also Tasteless, but much more of a favor to Artosis. He was one of the few guys who went to Korea during Brood War when there was absolutely no scene there was like a minimal scene in America.
Yeah. And
he basically went there, took a huge risk for himself. He genuinely like slept on the floor of like a hotel, of like a house, for like several months before he earned his keep and got a job with GOM. So props to him, man. He's the guy. He's a hard worker. He absolutely knew what he wanted to do for a living, and he got rewarded for it. So yeah,
fair enough.
Definitely something that would inspire the common man such as myself.
You and I, yeah. So I got kind of two-part question here. So as a commentator, you get to cast BlizzCon Grand Finals. Who is your co-caster, and who are the two players playing?
It'll be Artosis, for sure. Possibly Rotterdam, but I don't think I can do the whole Mr. Bit or Nathanius act with... I don't quite have the British accent or the American accent. Rather, they're not even British, it's Americans. So definitely Artosis, possibly Todd. Todd, I think, would be a good compliment to me.
Yep. With
the sarcastic French guy. So yeah. In terms of the players, I would have to say Liquid Hero and Flash on form.
Okay.
So yeah. Hero, one of the.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, if they were both playing like really good, Flash the Newborn God.
I think I said Liquid Hero. I meant CJ Hero.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Sorry. Yeah, wrong guy.
Both heroes, but in their different times.
Yeah.
Okay, and then now you're a player in the BlizzCon Grand Finals. So who is your opponent and why?
Oh, SKT1 Sue. I want to win.
Okay.
It's easy.
PvP.
To be fair, look at
in a PvP.
No, SKT1 Sue.
Oh right, Zerg.
The Zerg guy who came second in every final. Yeah. So look at it this way: if I beat him, I get a lot of money. It's fine. I'm happy. If I lose, well, I help make history. Like Sue for the first time finally wins the tournament. So it's a win-win situation. I'm still happy about that. I helped make history for him.
All right.
I may have made another champion. There you go.
So I got two kind of silly questions coming up now. So Kerrigan has taken control of you, and you're now an agent of the Swarm. Which world leader of Earth does she send you to kill?
Who's in charge of Canada? Probably Canada.
Why?
It won't be that hard. I'll probably just go there and like stick a flag in the ground and be like, conquered.
Wow.
Meet like an army of people who just constantly apologize to me and offer me food. I'm like, yeah, that was easy. I don't need to try it. Done.
Okay. Soft tacos or hard tacos?
The agony of choice. Well, I'm gonna. I watched that ad recently where the kid, that guy had the same issue with like hard shell tacos or soft shell tacos, and the kid's like, why not have both? So that's my answer. I like both. I go for that every time I go shopping.
Okay. Okay, so who would you say is back to seriousness? Who would you say is like your biggest rival in the Southeast Asia scene as a player?
It'll be difficult for me to actually name a rival, primarily because I don't play on a level that determines like I don't have a specific rival because anybody is capable of beating me at this point. It's not like I'm the best player in the world. There's one guy who's on par with me. It's literally like everybody who's like Masters League is capable of taking games off me.
Yeah, but so who's someone that you've met consistently throughout tournaments, or you've met on ladder a few times, and there's just something a little bit of something where it's like, all right, I have to beat that person.
Yeah. I would say from my uni clan, which is C's, I would say Vivid.
Yep.
He's the one who's been knocking me out of my He's one of those guys who, when I first met, like I was on my prime, but going downhill because I was playing less and less, and he was on the rise. And in fact, when I first played him, I actually completely crushed him. It wasn't even close. But a few months later, he actually just completely surpassed me and took me out 3-0 in a uni tournament. And it was just like the most shocking thing I've ever seen. So yeah, that was a pretty big shot to my ego because I was not expected to lose to him in such a horrendous way. And I think even in season 2, he actually knocked me out in the group stages with a narrow 2-1, 1-2.
Yep.
So I would say Vivid. I mean, credit to him. He played really well. He plays really crispy as well. Goes for baiting drops against Protoss. You don't really see that very often since the good old Sen days.
Yeah.
But it works against the model pushes. Let me just say that. If I can't force it, it works.
Fair enough. So we're coming down to like our last question here, and so I was just wondering, what are your goals for StarCraft 2? Like, what do you wish to achieve? Or are you going to go down an entirely different path in life, continue your civil engineering and maybe go somewhere of that? So what are your plans with your life, and does it involve StarCraft?
In my honest opinion, I think that throughout both Brood War and StarCraft 2, I've already gotten as much as I wanted out of it. I know that's a bad answer, but as like a developing like a person, like just a little bit of background history. When I first went to Brood War, I was this egotistical kid. Like, it was literally, I'm the best player, everybody else is worse than me. And after like a few years of that mentality, I ended up taking losses very harshly. Like, anytime someone would beat me any way possible, I would feel like I was cut out of I was robbed of a victory.
Yep.
And I would often like just ignore everybody around me and not talk to anybody. And it was obviously a very shallow and pathetic part of my life, but eventually I opened up to teammates who showed me that like it wasn't just about you. There are people who are just as deserving as you are because they practice just as hard. And I kind of got into the mentality of, okay, the harder you work, the more effort you get, the more rewards you get back, the better your rewards, the better you get out of it. And then after that, I realized how even after that mentality, as I entered into high school, I actually I actually played in the first WCG in my first WCG qualifier, where I got knocked out in the third round in Brood War, which is horrendously soon for someone like me who committed like almost half a year to pure practice.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I realized it was more about talent at that point. Like, yes, you could train as hard as you want, but there are 50 other people who can do so. You shouldn't be sad about it, but you should congratulate the guys who made it through this far, and just be happy that they've actually gotten a chance to represent themselves instead of being bitter about it. And I think that helped me develop so much as a person that's basically what made me who I am today. And I'm pretty proud of that as it is. I don't think StarCraft 2 could do any more for me as a person who's growing into adulthood. I think I owe it more than what it is, just for what it has done so far. But if I had to say my plans for as a gamer or my future, I would say I would want to like follow the footsteps of someone like Total Biscuit. Just be like a respectable member of the community. Stay active in the gaming community. Just show that gaming is, a fun part of someone's lifestyle. It's not detrimental or negative in any way. You can have fun. You can still enjoy it. You can be social. You can be professional about it. You don't have to be you don't have to troll all the time. There's a fine line between being a troll and being witty. Just as how being smart and being a douchebag,
Yeah.
how that distinguishes. So I would just say that my goals in the future is just to show the community that I'm a successful individual who plays video games for fun, not necessarily for a living, but for fun as a hobby. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and you should be more than welcome to join me in that sense.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the interview, man. I just want to give you one last final question. So where can we find all your stuff? Put down a list of things where we can find you. So, like, do you have a Facebook page, a Twitter? Do you have a Twitch stream? What else? Like, any shout-outs you want to make? Just go for it, man. Plug yourself.
Yeah, sure. Follow me on Twitter at MiniXSC2. I also have a Twitch stream at MiniX4242564. You're probably not going to remember that, but that's okay.
Just
I'll link you my Twitter at some point.
Yeah, link me your Twitch and your Twitter, and I'll make sure it goes into the description below. But not right now. And anywhere else?
Shout out to my friends in Dynasty Gaming. You guys are awesome. It's always fun to meet other people who enjoy the games. Although many of you still have some growing up to do, I would say that. Not going to list any names. Also a big shout out to the individuals who've inspired me in my life. Those are Toto Biscuit, Artosis, Flash from Brood War, and Janta's Hero for just being awesome in general. And to you, Wolf, for spending the time to opening the community to our opinions, which would otherwise just be silent.
Well, that's fair enough. That's all Wolf House is about, is getting in there, asking questions that people won't usually ask people like you or people like Full Metal, and seeing
a surprise third guest.
Yeah, and just seeing what happens from there, letting people know that, hey, everyone has a voice. But anyway, thank you very much. Thank you guys, Wolfpackers, Howl, if you wish. I don't know what the go is yet with the whole... Anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.
Alright.